Welcome, children. We're gonna glaze today. So there's a couple. This is the proper sequence for glazing. Step one is you need to mix the glaze with the stick. Some of the glazes are in small buckets like this. Most of them are in large buckets. The large buckets will all have a stick inside already. You need to make sure that you mix it really, really well. It should be the consistency of cream. Cameron, you gotta get a shot of this. Okay, this is a pretty good consistency, so it's not too thin and it's not too thick, right? Once you've mixed it really well, this second step is optional. For you advanced students, this step should not be optional. You should always do this. I would do this every time if I were you glazing. This ensures that you get an even glaze every time. Strain it. So pour it through a strainer into a clean bucket. I've been doing this all day, so I didn't have a clean bucket to start with. And then just pour it back. Even though I've been straining this all day long, cameraman, look, can you see these little things in here? You got those? Okay, there's still little imperfections and impurities in the glaze, and we don't want those to show up on the outside of our pot. So now my glaze is prepared and ready. There are two ways that you can apply glaze. You can either dip it or paint it. If you paint it, you've got to do a minimum of 3 coats. If you dip it, you only need to do it once. Maybe twice if you do a second color, but you only dip it halfway the second time, so that we don't end up with glaze running down. Okay, the second thing that I'm going to do is take a clean sponge, a really clean sponge that's slightly damp, and I'm going to wipe the entire surface to make sure that there's no what?
Dust.
No dust. Why don't we want dust?
Because it blows up.
Because the glaze will fall off. It'll attach to the dust and fall off. It won't attach to our pot. So now that this is well dusted, because I've got a bowl, and this is the same for bowls or cups, I'm going to take my plastic thing here and fill up the inside. And then swirl it around.
It's spilling.
It's not. And then really quickly and evenly just pour it back in. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to. This one is, so normally I would just dip that straight down, but this bucket's too small for this bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour the glaze over the outside so that it all hopefully lands up back inside the bucket. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is make sure that I give it a really good shake so that I get any extra drips off. I'm going to make sure that I don't glaze my foot, that I have a 1/4 inch showing at the bottom. And what's the last thing that I'm going to check?
The bottoms. Wipe your bottoms.
Wipe your bottoms. Okay? Why is it important to wipe our bottoms?
Because then it gets
Glaze strips and it sticks to the shelf.
Because we don't want this to be glazed to the shelf permanently. So once you're done, once this is dry, you set it outside to be fired. Now again, if you're going to paint glaze, let's say that I wanted to paint a fish or something in here, I would still need to do 3 coats of whatever different color glaze I'm doing on top of this. But be careful, especially on the outside of your project, how much glaze you're adding. If you add too much glaze to the outside, it will drip and end up gluing your pot to the surface of the kiln shelf, which will cause me to have to replace it, and I won't be happy. Yes. Question.
Can you put our glaze projects away from the new students so they don't get ruined last time?
That doesn't need to be on the video.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll just cut that part out. I'll answer that off camera. I feel like I'm missing something.
Wipe your bottoms.
Nah, we're good.
Are you done?